Well, greetings, everybody. Keith here. Hoping everybody's having a good day, enjoying life, living life, loving life. Coming back to you with permitted deceptions. Permitted deceptions. And if you saw the last stream about a half hour ago, we ended up on Alejandro Mayorkas, the Secretary of Homeland Security, being put up for impeachment for war crimes and misdemeanors, or high crimes and misdemeanors. High crimes would be like war crimes. So we're going to take a look at this. And the link is down there for anybody that wants to come join the panel. There's a PayPal link pinned to the top for anybody that wants to share some love. And of course, before we get started, hit that like, share, and subscribe. And if you're on Hecklebus, get over to El Perro and do the same. And if you're on El Perro, get over to Hecklebus. Hit that share, hit that like, share, and subscribe, and help the analytics and algorithm. And greetings, everybody. As the room fills up, let me pull up my screen. And this again is from LIIWEX, Cornell Law School, Legal Information Institute, which is where you can find the plain writing portion of the U.S. Code and Code of Federal Regulations. You can also find the UCC and various other codes and stuff. Acts of Congress, all that stuff. So, as we get started, war crime. A war crime is a violation of the laws of war. The legal understanding of war crimes has been codified in several multilateral treaties. Most notably, the Geneva Conventions, which I've been going over here recently. That was the thing about the diagonal flag in the temple video the other day. More recently, the most comprehensive legal statement on war crimes was the Rome Statute of the International Criminal Court. Rome Statute. All roads lead to Rome, folks. So let's take a look at that one. Now, this is International Criminal Court, the Rome Statute of the International Court. And it starts out, and it gives you the regular information as any other book. It's got its ISBN number, published by the International Criminal Court. Copyright, International Criminal Court. It's copyright material, all rights reserved. Goes down and tells you about all this stuff. Tells you about jurisdiction. Jurisdiction. So let's take a look at jurisdiction. Oops, we went past it. Where was it? Let me go back and look at that. Oh, we didn't. Jurisdiction is Article 11. Article 11, jurisdiction. Let me blow this up a little bit, get a better read on this. And notice it says jurisdiction, ration, temporis. Temporary. The court has jurisdiction only with respect to crimes committed after the entry into force of this statute. Only after entry into force of this statute. If a state becomes a party to this statute after its entry into force, the country may exercise its jurisdiction only with respect to crimes committed after the entry into force of this statute for that state, unless that state has made a declaration under Article 12, Paragraph 3. If the acceptance of a state which is not a party to this statute is required under Paragraph 2, that state may, by declaration lodged with the registrar, accept the exercise of jurisdiction by the court with respect to the crime in question. So, by declaration lodged with the registrar, the Keith Orland Little FBU has lodged its declaration through the post office by registering an account so that I can accept the exercise of jurisdiction by the court with respect to the crimes in question. The accepting state shall cooperate with the court without any delay or exception in accordance with Part 9. Preconditions to exercise of jurisdiction. 2. In the case of Article 13, Paragraph A or C, the court may exercise its jurisdiction if one or more of the following states are parties to this statute or have accepted the jurisdiction of the court in accordance with Paragraph 3. So, the state on the territory of which the conduct in question occurred, or if the crime was committed on board a vessel or aircraft, the state of registration of that vessel or aircraft. Airwaves, internet is a vessel, it's a vehicle, it's the same thing, okay? Just like we discussed in the last video. The state on the territory, 18 U.S.C. 7, special maritime territorial jurisdiction of which the conduct in question occurred. That's at the state and federal level. All of these instrumentalities are commercial instrumentalities under the special maritime territorial jurisdiction. The state ceded their jurisdiction to that jurisdiction. The other one is the state of which the person accused of the crime is a national. I'm not the one claiming the national. I'm the one making the reiteration, the excited utterance that a claim has already been made, that I was sanctified and ordained a prophet unto the nations. If you don't believe that, that's your problem. So let's get on to the next one. The actual deception. The deception during armed conflict. These officers are allowed to lie to you. They are literally allowed to lie to get any information they want. And like I showed in the video the other day, with the officer and the triangle sign on his armor, that is not allowed according to this. Deception during armed conflict. So let's take a look at this. Blow it up just a little bit more. (12.1) The law of armed conflict permits deceiving the enemy through stratagems and ruses of war intended to mislead him, to deter him from taking action, not to invoke him into taking action, or to induce him to act recklessly. You shouldn't be out on those streets allowing this, people. Provided the ruses do not violate rules of international law applicable to armed conflict. That law of land warfare is an international law through the Geneva Conventions and the Rome Pact. Permitted deceptions, stratagems, and ruses of war permitted in armed conflict include such deceptions as camouflage, deceptive lighting, dummy ships, dummy corporations, and other armament, decoys, simulated forces, feigned attacks, and withdrawals, not actual attacks and withdrawals. You cannot come forth with a can of mace and act like you pretended to spray them while actually spraying them. That would be an ambush. False intelligence information, that would be the sign on there giving them information to intellectually convey or discern that is false. Electronic deceptions and utilization of enemy codes, passwords, countersigns. You can find this at Liber Code Article 1, House Resolution Article 24, GPI Article 37.2. These rules are considered applicable to warfare at sea. Those are applicable to wars at sea. What is the next one? Prohibited deceptions. The use of unlawful deceptions is called perfidy. Acts of perfidy are deceptions designed to invite the confidence of the enemy to believe that he is entitled to or obliged to accord protected status under the law of armed conflict, with the intent to betray that confidence. Feigning surrender in order to lure the enemy into a trap is an act of perfidy. So, going over there as an officer of the law in police uniform, specifically with a sign on you stating that you're a peaceful temple while carrying arms, is a little bit misguided. The use of deceptive measures to thwart precision-guided weapons is legally permissible. That's the kind of deception they're talking about. You can thwart precise guided weapons by deception, but you can't guide your weapon into an unarmed body of people. Where was it? Down here, I believe, page 4. Misuse of protective signs, signals, and symbols. Misuse of protective signs, signals, and symbols. See paragraphs 11.9 and 11.10. In order to injure, kill, or capture the enemy constitutes an act of perfidy. This is why it's so important. I put a message out for the Lord's release, and I put Mayday, 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 SOS. That's an international signal, and any misuse of it to injure, kill, or capture the enemy constitutes an act of perfidy. So I used it legally, lawfully, you want to say. But if somebody were to use that to try to injure, kill, or capture someone, that would constitute an act of perfidy, and that would be a violation of international law, known as a high crime. Under the national sign, it would be treason, if not sedition. Such acts are prohibited because they undermine the effectiveness of protective signs, signals, and symbols, and thereby jeopardize the safety of non-combatants and the immunity of protected structures and activities. So now we see the persons, the places, and the things. These are all nouns. The person, the place, and the things. So they're not supposed to be misusing those terms and conditions. in any way, whether it be a mark of any kind that would give anybody some kind of sign, signal, or be any kind of symbol, even a dot on a paper, not one jot nor one tittle, lest ye be found a liar. For example, using an ambulance or medical aircraft marked with the Red Cross or Red Crescent to carry armed combatants, weapons, or ammunition with which to attack or elude enemy forces prohibited. Note 5. Similarly, use of the white flag to gain a military advantage over the enemy is unlawful. Therefore, use of a diagonal black and white sign to gain a military advantage over the enemy is also unlawful. Therefore, the use of a supposed police outfit, clown suit, that says serve and protect to gain a military advantage over non-combatant people is unlawful. This customary rule derives from House Resolution Article 23F and 27, Hague 5th, Article 5, GWS C, Articles 30, 34, 35, 41, and 45, GWS Articles 21, 22, 35, and 36, GC Articles, Geneva Convention. Remember we spoke about that? 18, 20, and 22, or 18, 20 to 22. Can't remember what the GPW stands for either. Articles 23, Rorick Pact, Articles 1 and 5. Then we see Field Manual 2710. That's the one we went over the other day with the diagonal flag. That was Field Manual 2710, Articles 48, 49, I believe. Hague Cultural Property Convention. The protective signs, symbols, and emblems are illustrated in 11-1, page 503 to 505, and you can find them in this Hague Cultural Convention. However, the enemy is not required to cease firing when a white flag is raised. To indicate that the hoisting is authorized by its commander, the appearance of the flag should be accompanied or followed promptly by a complete cessation of a fire from that side. When we look at the, let me see here. Which one is it? No, it's not either one of these. I'll have to find it again. But there is one of these that actually states that in order to be able to use that black and white diagonal sign, you can't have any armaments. So if you have armaments, then you have to be using the white flag. Whereas, and that's a distinction. So the black and white flag, the diagonal flag, you're not supposed to have any armaments. What you're doing is you're protecting an institution of peace, a temple, a church, a cathedral, a library, a school, a hospital, something like that. And therefore, you're not supposed to have armaments. And this is one of the things that people need to recognize. If they're not supposed to have armaments in that hospital, it would only be because it's got that signage on it. If it doesn't have that signage on it, then it is in fact a military hospital, like I've been telling you, rather than a religious house of healing. So there are distinct differences that people have to learn about. And I hope you guys are catching on. It does go deep, but again, the only things that I really research are the etymology, etiology, and epistemology, and that's the roots of everything. Anything that comes to my mind, any kind of topic or anything, I go straight to the beginnings. I want to find out who started it and where it started, why it started, this and that I can then turn around and compare to what it is today and see how it's merged or changed or whatever. And that's important. You got to be able to learn how to discern this stuff for yourself. Again, 10 years old, I was standing in fourth grade, and teacher tried to convince everybody that Columbus discovered America. I was the first one to stand up, tell everybody she's got to be lying because there were people here already. How could Columbus discover America if there were already people here? So, and that's kind of the reason and logic I've had all my life in questioning things. So think about that. And that's it for today, folks. So God bless. Remember, I love you, but I don't give a fuck whether you love me back. Remember, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Get this information out. And remember, don't believe me. Don't believe your neighbor. Don't believe the government. For crying out loud, don't believe your mother. Do your research so you know. That's the true benefit. My people are destroyed for the lack of knowledge. And nobody's going to teach you this stuff. All you can do is read it and learn it and discern it for yourself. Meantime, again, God bless you. Have a good night. Bye.